And so the time has come for the first lesson. This is something you will remember for the rest of your life, just as I remember my first lesson on HTML book. However, mine will be much more interesting. And the drawbacks I noticed in other lessons are that they are very drawn out. Lessons lasting 45 minutes with very detailed explanations. No. Now, there is no time for long explanations, no time for prolonged study. The world has become very fast, especially with the advent of neural networks in the form of chatgpt and everything else. Therefore, our task is to move very quickly. And definitely a warm-up, because you can't imagine how important it is to flex the biceps of the brain, the muscles of intellect. Now the world is one, where evolution is determined by intelligence and knowledge. Rails and sleepers no longer need to be carried. Processes are becoming more and more automated in factories. That is, physical labor is minimized, and this is just the beginning. Therefore, we start developing our intellect. Alright, the preface is finished. The very first thing we need to do is download our tool, which we will use for programming. This is your toolbox, your hammer, from which you can build a house. What do we need to type? We need to type download in Google. In C code, in C code is where you will actually be writing. The code is called the idea of the development environment integration. That is your environment for development. So we go here and download it, no matter if you have Linux, Mac, or Windows. For example, I would download it from Mac and install it on my system, but it's already installed. That's why you download. And don't worry too much about what is for what, just download it. Our task is to download everything. Let's say you downloaded Matonda VS Code. What we need to do first is open this VS Code. I have a repo video. I named it specifically for creating files during recording. Honestly, I'll tell you that what we are going to start with, I will be recalling literally, or rather, I have already recalled since I prepared after all. I will be recalling along with you because the world has now moved towards frameworks. But in order to move on to frameworks, and frameworks are, let's say, a high-level abstraction over primitive technologies like HTML. Therefore, we need to study the basics. And look, we have already downloaded, and we can create our first project. I'm amazed at how quickly we are moving. On the desktop, it doesn't matter where. You need to create a folder, let's say, name it Startup. Name it Startup, it will motivate you. Such little things always remain in our subconscious. And from versus code directly, you click there on file, it doesn't matter, Windows or Mac, whatever you have. And you press open folder. And search in Explorer. Specifically the folder you created, because now we will be working in this folder. No, that's not what I need at all. Now this is just for example. I need to open the video repo. There, all done, open. And I will try to use English terms and phrases so that it's easier for you to understand, because English is an integral, and by literally picking up on the surface IT terminology and everything else, it might be easier for you later, especially if you are simultaneously learning English. It will be easier for you to speak in English. Honestly, I'll tell you, when I speak in English in the context of IT, I feel very confident. As soon as I switch to English on some everyday topics, I start to get lost, even though I have extensive English practice. Therefore, we will try to at least reach this IT level. I will do this purposefully. Honestly, I myself can't stand it when other people insert English words where it's needed and where it's not. I don't know why they do it. That is, it needs to be done somewhere appropriately. Otherwise, like we came from the restaurant, I parked my car. No, of course, that won't happen. I will try to do it as relevantly as possible, so that you pick up these words, and in the future, during an interview, when you come to an interview, and there will be a guy with vast experience sitting in front of you who talks with English-speaking guys from morning till night, and he will be throwing in some terms, IT terms, every couple of words so that it doesn't scare you. That's why I will intentionally insert them. So, the basics. First, we need to create a file. That's the first thing. Then I'll explain what an index is. So, the keyboard is closer. The microphone covers the index. HTML. Okay, we created the index HTML. What is index HTML? It's a markup page. It's directly the structure of your website. When you write inside an HTML file, you define text, images, photos, everything that exists. If we go, for example, to the Visual Studio Com website, as an example, I'll explain to you. I'll look into the development console, which is a special tool for developers. You see, this entire page that we have consists of these kinds of gibberish. Call it whatever you like. So these gibberish characters are transformed into beautiful stylized buttons and everything else into a structure. In other words, the browser is, so to speak, the translator of your gibberish into a page. Details a bit later. And now let's start with the structure. It's the foundation, I'll be honest with you, and that's normal. I still don't remember the default main structure of HTML markup by heart. I always copy it from somewhere, but since we are starting from scratch, what I advise you to do along with me is to write it all from scratch now. The main structure of HTML markup. I have a board in front of me, so I can see everything. And if I forget something, I'll just take a peek there. Usually I copy it, and by the way, I will provide a link to a sandbox for each lesson. Send a link to sandbox, where you can directly copy it and paste it. And everything else, and see in a real example how it works. I will later show what a sandbox is, and I will copy it there in front of you so that you understand what it means. So, mainly two tags. What is it? Tags. It's exactly the wrapper that defines the elements. For example, when you write in Telegram, choose to format a message. It doesn't matter if it's in Telegram or any other editor. You, let's say, want to make the text bold. When you do this, under the hood, everything is simply wrapped. For example, in tags, HTML tags, and they determine how the element will look. But you don't see this. This all happens under the hood. Next, HTML is the main, sort of the main framework. Next, we need to define the tags. Inside the head tag. Okay, everything inside the tags we need to define. The main tag is the title. The title is what we see in the browser. When you see the page in the browser, this is what's written in the tags. If I open the head now, head title, I definitely need to find it. I don't see it here. Perhaps here you see, look, title Visual Studio code editing. It corresponds to this name that is displayed on the tab. Well, let's write post news, meaning news, post news. It doesn't matter. I just came up with this on the fly. I will try to write everything in English too, post news. This will be displayed directly on the tab. Next, in the head, there are many more options, but that's a bit later. Now let's deal with the structure. In the head, we mainly write all the page options. Next, a very important tag is body. Body is the structure of our page, meaning everything that is located inside. Absolutely everything. So body is, roughly speaking, everything you need. Okay, I think the screen is blocked for me. Is not the protein lid blocking the tab? Inside the TG. Body U. See, here's the body and all of these. Dog is directly 3. The page is defined there inside the TG. In the body. So what we need to do is we will do everything in reality mode. I don't want to just load you with theory. We will make real copies. We will copy Instagram posts. We will copy Instagram design, Instagram. I chose it because it is as minimalist as possible. And at the same time, substantial. I really like the creative aspect. Instagram design describes that brevity is the soul of wit and everything genius. Is simple. That's why we will work with Instagram. Well, in the future, for now, we will work with raw markup. Next, we use the tag H1. H1. This is the one which you will understand now, which determines the display of text. There are many tags H1, H2, H3. Tags. You need to study, look, in parallel with what I'm giving you. There will be a lot of information to work through independently for speed, because if I start explaining each tag to you, one lesson will take up a lot of time, but we don't have the time or resources for that. For example, we can write HTML, basic text. So. Once upon a time, this school helped me a lot too. W3 Schools is very good. Here, everything is well described and the main tags are here. Honestly, I'll say there are many tags, even ones I don't know, haven't used. Well, there are a lot of them. You need to start with these basic tags. For example, you see the H1 tags. There are many, they define the size of the text, that is the title. If we try and open it, you see H1 makes the text very large. H2, H3, H4, blah blah blah. Now, okay, let's return to the code. I want to make the text the largest. For example, what news has happened in the last few days? Elon Musk introduced the Tesla taxi. I will copy the pre-prepared text so that you don't hear it once more. In the first lesson, I will repeat many things because I want to lay the foundation for how I plan to conduct these lessons. I will prepare in advance and I want to minimize the time as much as possible. You know, I've often attended lessons where coders type slowly, in silence. You wait for him to finish typing. No, I will copy-paste everything and you will find it all in the sandbox later. What is a sandbox? Again, I will explain a bit later. Alright, Elon Musk shows off Tesla taxi. Elon Musk presented the Tesla taxi. Next, we defined such a tag. Look at what we are going to do now. See, you can right-click immediately and press the button. Show in browser. This will be your page. It has already displayed it. You see, the browser translates these tags, it turns them into markup. But I want to make a preview, it will be much more convenient. Look, if you downloaded VS Code and you don't have this option, because by default I used to be able to go here. Now, it's an extension. Here are all sorts of little features. Helpers, let's say, it's like an extension in Google Chrome. You download it, yes, here you have an extension for VS Code. We need to download HTML preview, so you don't have to open the browser every time. So you're here right away. Immediately here. The display of what you are creating, I agree. You install this HTML preview, blah blah blah, blah. And this is another one. I already downloaded it. Okay, so open preview, the site, but I need to open it on the side with Command K, on Windows. It might be something different, Command, whatever, okay, everything is also much more convenient, but if you are more motivated to see it in the browser, just right click and you will be happy to view everything in the browser. Now I'm trying to explain a bit more because this is really important, then I will speed up. I'm sure a lot of people will drop out because they'll think, where have I ended up? Why do I need this? What is this? But please be persistent. I'll tell you, when I had already been working in IT for even 2 years, I had a lot of thoughts about quitting due to the constant influx of information. As soon as you cross this threshold, you will just breathe fresh air of knowledge, intellect, development, and everything else. Thanks to the engineering, the Civil Engineering Institute that I graduated from, which helped me develop this skill of fast learning because I studied very hard there. Okay, next we need the P tag. The P tag defines paragraphs. It's fundamental. Next, I copied a part of the news directly from the original, went into one post and copied it. Look, you see the P tag nicely separates your text. If I copy it now and let's say add to, see how beautifully it formats. If you look at what happens if we remove it now, this Q, see everything. The text turned into a mess. So we return it. That's all. Hotkeys. Remember them right away. Memorize them like your own name. To save a file on Mac or Windows, Ctrl S or Command S. To go back, let's say undo, Command Z. Or Command Ctrl, it doesn't matter, Shift Z. Well, maybe you already know this because you work in an editor somewhere, but I'm explaining it as if to first graders. Maybe it's important to someone. Suddenly there's a student sitting there who only played games and isn't aware of all this. So don't write to me later saying I'm giving some basic things that are completely unnecessary. Let them be. Alright, we wrote this text. And now look, here we have the basic layout. I really ask you, at first, don't copy, just look at it visually. Even in the sandbox that I will provide you, yes, you can copy everything there, but write everything manually. Because when you write it 100 times, sometimes, even if you don't remember it by heart, when you start typing, you recall it because this motor memory kicks in like a password. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you don't remember a password, but somehow you close your eyes quickly and type it all out? Your hands remember the password, so write everything manually. You can copy the text however you like, create content. Next, let's smoothly transition to styles. HTML defines the elements. Styles define the design of these elements. HTML is like the frame of a car, maybe you've seen it at a factory, a car without wheels, without paint, just its body on the assembly line. Then it goes further. Processing involves adding wheels, paint, and everything else. The paint directly is our CSS styles. They are called cascading styles. So, CSS style. We will also have JavaScript. JavaScript is directly programming with JavaScript. Roughly speaking, if we consider it like a car, it's the engine, the car, and the behavior of this car. There's the suspension and everything else, but let's focus on styles. Look, what we want to do. To start with, we want to change, for example, the color of our title. We don't like the black color. We want something brighter. Conditionally, under which we have, no, I don't want it in one window. I want everything here. Because here we have our title preview, defined by the tag and cast iron, which defines bold markup, that is, the text of the driest level. If I go into styles, I need to refer to this tag. I just easily write Peak Rahman, wrap it, opening brackets, and it's simple to change the text style for me. I need to specify color. Let's say I like blue velvet. Here you write any color in. The code will even highlight the colors itself, you see, if you press dishes, as there are colors. Blue velvet, and it's in another hex format here. But we can just write it as text, blue volod. Don't forget the period. Semicolon. But strangely, nothing changed. Yes, even if we open it, what happened? Dasha will help us find out why the rogue didn't change the color. So where is it here? Oh, look, by the way. Now I will close this preview. You had to right click here to open the preview with the right button and open the preview, and it would have opened. So let's try to open the open preview. So I want to move it to the right to shift it to the right side. This is how you can do it and move it here. Good. So, I don't like all of this. Meaning, if you want to do more, here's your code. Divide it into 2 parts. Here, there's a little button like this. How? The HTML file understands that this style applies to it. This is impossible, as the technology hasn't reached that point yet, accordingly, for this. Remember, I told you that all the most serious and basic things are defined within the tags? The word head is not for nothing. Everything is in the head. You need to keep everything in mind. For this, after the title tag, we need to directly connect this style. Also try to type all of this by hand. I mostly copy. No, I need a link. Write out the link. By the way, one more thing. Almost all tags mainly need to be opened and closed. Yes, here the tag opens. So it closes, and inside it, you see, there's also a slash. Don't forget about this, because later you'll be sitting for 100 hours not understanding why it's not working. Always check that the tag is closed. And this link here for connecting tags is one of the few tags from the list that does not close. That is, you don't need to close it like this, right? This is how we did it. This is not needed in it. Of course, it's strange. I still strive for everything to be unified, but here, for some reason, the developers decided long ago to do it this way. So further on. Further, we need to follow the protocol. Look, you don't need to think about why it's like this. Just remember it. Put up a shield. We are merely letting the browser understand that this is directly a style that will work with blood. You don't even need to write it down, but it's better to follow the protocol further along the backbone. And this is a reference yond, meaning a link. I am in our backbone. It's simple and seams. Front. This is a direct link to the style, and we need to specify the name of the style CSS. That is, this is exactly the name of these styles. And if you have many files in the style of style CSS 1, 2, 3, you can copy the link like this and then connect them all. Look, we connected the styles and the text changed instantly. That's it. This is now a unified, single application. We have connected the styles. Then, of course, I will just type and do everything faster later, and you will simply repeat. Now, for the first lessons, I will try to be more detailed in my explanations. I want, naturally, I don't like this text. I want to make it so that all the letters are uppercase. Each letter is capitalized. For this, I need to refer to something. I need to refer to the tag correctly, not to the TVP. And there is such a function, not a function, but a CSS option called text transform. Text transform uppercase. Oops, I wrote transform as transform. There's an error there. You see, I told you about closing tags. So open, so closed. Here it's only closed, but not opened. That is, I made a mistake intentionally to demonstrate to you like this. You see everything to the p tags. All options were applied. So closed. So we choose John. Here I have it like this. Close. All styles are applied. And you know, I want to set up for convenience so that the preview after load is done, I'll load it again in extension. Look, live preview. I am installing it because I don't like the preview at all. At the same time, we will practice installing plugins with you. Okay, alright. We close this. HTML, okay. Open preview. Which one will it open for me? It still opens for me. This is the default one. I don't like it. I want Shift Ctrl P, Shift CMDP, it doesn't matter. Preview, live. Here, live preview. I have set it up. So we are looking for a plugin. Probably I need it internal browser. Here. The fonts, of course, are very interesting. Alright, well, let's see if it works. Yes, it works. I'll remove the style. It works. Yes, that's it. Live Preview is our best friend. I don't like these fonts. Let's create what we'll do. I want to set a default font for absolutely everything on the page. For this, what we need to write HTML. This means that we are addressing absolutely all the markup. Font family. Here we choose among the fonts. Look, you see, all the fonts have changed. A completely different matter. What else I want to do? You know what I don't like on this page? For example, if you see we narrow it down. Let's say this is, for example, a mobile device. I don't like that. The text is too close to the edges. For this there is a specific CSS spell. For this I want to completely within our body make it so that the text is pushed away from all sides. For this I refer to the body tag and write a function like padding. Padding means that the text will be pushed away from all sides. 10 pixels. Let's make it 20. Look how beautiful it turned out. What does padding 20 pixels mean? It means that the text will be pushed 20 pixels away from all sides. Left, top, right, bottom. Look at what padding 20 pixels equals. It's the same as if we specified 20. Right? 20. Left, right, top, bottom. We remove this. It's equivalent more to, you see, if we specified it's too long. If we look at what happens if we make the left side 120. See? Only the left side was adjusted, considering that we need it only for me. It applies to all sides. Right away I use a joke just by tick 20. It applies to all sides. Basic CSS. CSS style basic stars. CSS introduction. 3 schools is a very good school. Actually, look, but here I explained selection to you. We will go through all of this now. Here, everything is with color. Oh, this doesn't give inline colors, so never use it with C. So, there is a huge problem with many forums and lessons that they provide. Yes, it works. See, what it means is that everything with style can be applied like this. And for example, color blue, it will be the same as if you wrote it here in CSS. You see, this is called inline styles. Inline styles, linear styles, they override your CSS styles. Never do this. Absolutely avoid it. It's like a nightmare. Never do it like this. All styles should be exclusively in CSS. This is one of the grossest mistakes. This lesson is purely to go over the style. See, you notice the border. If you see a style like this, border 2px solid tomato, we can copy it. But we will do it in our CSS style. We will copy this style here. Look, we made a border. I don't like it. I will make it orange. Here's the ugly border. See, what we can do to make the text even prettier, we can again apply the same padding from here. 20 pixels. Look, now the padding is applied from the top. Inside, well, I'll probably give you the very basics. By the way, always try to follow this interesting rule. Write all transformational styles at the beginning, and all styles that decorate, color, embellish, write them below. So like this. Look, I'll show you another trick on how to change the background color, that is the background. P. We have turned it into such a block. In general, a block tag is a div. We have such a tag, we use it. Always use it when you need to wrap an element in a block tag. Let's fix this situation now. because using P as a block is not quite correct from a semantic point of view. Semantics is the foundation of how an HTML page should look. So you need to wrap this P in a block like this. Just don't think about it. Now I will format all of this. Don't think about why this is, like matrices. Why it needs to be like this. So I will highlight all of this now. My formatting got messed up. I can't use shortcuts right now, so you just see it like this. So only by highlighting, pressing the format selection with another project messed it up and the formatting got disrupted. Look, we wrapped it in a div. And at the same time, I'll explain to you that we need this div. From here, I'll remove the border. And the padding. That's incorrect. P. It should strictly be responsible for the text. We need to achieve the same effect, but only apply these styles to the div. P is exclusively responsible for the text. You can specify div, right? Div. And like this, do it in the styles and address all div elements. Suppose if we have a situation and we want to color this div's border in blue and this one in orange, something like that. Because if we specify div, the style will apply to all divs. And here, so-called classes come to our aid. The class attribute means that we can address each tag individually. Class. Let's define it better like this. Suppose we have a theme, right? This is better. Light theme, like we have in applications, and then there's the dark theme. This will be a perfect example. I'm doing this on the fly right now. Like this, because it seems clearer to me. So, we want to create a light theme and a dark theme. That is a light and a dark theme. Okay? We will have the same, roughly speaking, element. And for the same element, we will have two. We will create different themes. Let's say we go back to CSS. We don't need diff anymore. Look, to refer to a class, you need to use a dot. 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 What do we have there? Light first. Light theme. This corresponds to the name of our class. And now we can do the first thing. Set the border. For the light theme, we designated this block, here it is. We set the border. Border, let's say 1 pixel solid. This means there is a continuous border there. Look at the elements. There from the dash, went through their dashes, there with dots, anything solid color. I want light. Theme, let it be. Lowered, it will be pink, okay. By default, you see it defines as if the color is not specified, it makes it black. Solid. You can turn it, for example, into a dash. You see dashes, such lines. Well, I always go with solid. Heck, we need it. Naturally, we want to add padding. Padding of 20 pixels. Well, okay, let it be so. You see the light theme applied exclusively to this div. Exclusively. That's it. We've covered that. Now we want, naturally, to address the second theme, dark theme, doing the same thing, now copy-pasting. We just need to replace the words with dark here. Here we'll write blue velvet. Let it be. What I don't like here is that they are too close to each other. And I don't like that the border is so thick. I want to make it 2 pixels. Let it be a bit thicker. Look, yes, it's not pretty. They are adjacent, the colors mix. What do we have here? We have a div, right? Div. Div. What can we do? We can address the 2 block elements div and set it so that there is just a space between all divs on our page. Again, we write div. There is such a property if padding is the inner spacing. There is such a property in CSS is called margin. Margin is the outer spacing. That is, look, padding works here, like this inward margin works from here. And here we need margin. We apply it to all... No, look, here's the interesting part. Margin is... We only need it for top and bottom. We don't need left, right. This can be done in two ways. Remember this as a basic concept. Just remember it in your mind. Margin top can be done. Margin top Z, let's say 10 pixels. Well, let it be. Let it be 20. And look between everything. Isn't it better to do it later so that it's specifically downward, so that we don't have extra margin? If we have something, it's better to make it accessible downward. Margin, then you can do it clearly. Look at what happens. For example, if you just set margin 20 pixels, we'll remove this. Remember how I talked to you about money without, but what's the thing? He set margin from all sides, as you can in this format. If we need to set a different margin on each side, do you know what we can specify? Remember, and we have 4 sides. There's up, right, down, left, up, 0, right bar, 0. Down we need 20 pixels, up right, down left, 0. Look, remember, this format better. Because, of course, yes, margin bottom, margin right, left, yes, remember up right, down left. You won't believe it, I've remembered this since I started programming. And now dark theme. To match reality, we want the background color to change. Let it be this color. Now, what colors does it suggest to us? Let's see. Oh, dim gray, I like it. Dim gray, this is the dark theme, and we can do everything. I'm not explaining anymore, you just watch. Are you applying the brushes yourself? Do you understand that it's easy? Now I want to change the text color directly to white. Well, considering that this is... Oh, sorry. I want to make the background color light. I just copy everything. Copy paste absolutely. Whatever I want. Some month colors. So whatever it suggests. So let it be this color, like this. And for you, the trick is that black text always looks ugly. The trick of any design is to make the text slightly lighter, that is, closer to gray. And be sure to watch, we will specify the color. The color of the text, what will we make it? Look at what we have there. Well, this is too light, we need something cooler. You know, dark light gray. Or this one perfectly fits dark slate gray. When I started coding, colors weren't highlighted at all. You had to remember them all. Look, we have a light theme and the dark theme. See what we have done. I am pleased myself because it turned out beautifully. Let me show you the best part, the most interesting. I feel such inspiration that I am sharing it with you. You won't believe it. Look, my camera is running out of battery, exclusively. I will write it down here in the to-do. What do we need to continue with? Encapsulation by styles. Oh, sorry. Style. Encapsulation. Encapsulation of styles. ID. That's enough. About that I will need to explain it, and also image. Image. We will add it in the next lesson. This material will be enough for you. Try to repeat everything the same way. Not by copy-pasting, but by playing around with these styles yourself. And I will definitely attach links under the video to this segment so you can look at the HTML markup, tags, and styles. We've covered all of these, just the basics. You don't need everything for now. Always separate or write first. It's probably better like this. It's still better to do transformations first. That would be more correct. And then everything related to styles. And let's open our page in the browser. I will show you exactly in the browser. This is how it turned out. If I run Developer Console, here, Developer Tools, look, on iPhone 12. On iPhone 12 Pro it will look like this. On Pixel 7 it will look like this. I'm showing how what we've just done will look on mobile devices. So for you too, for motivation. And I will also attach for you the sandbox. All this code that I already have here, I will attach all of this in the sandbox. What is a sandbox? I'll quickly show you. Code sandbox and so hide it. And stimulus plus with C. Lesson made public in front of you just by creating a box. Look, see, it has already created. By the way, it highlighted well. This is also an element of the protocol. Type HTML. Honestly, I will say that I never used to give it before, never added it. But now we add it here like this. By the way, I'll do this, I think, although let me make spaces. To make it clearer for you, spaces are not necessary at all. You can write without them. Remove all spaces, but I think it will be clearer for you this way. So I copy the HTML here, and I copy the CSS style. Also, the sandbox has become CSS. You see, the cool thing is it created automatically. In short, the styles file needs to be set up. I wrote it in Skype, set up CSS, so that it would be unitary for them. I will also write it here, set it up, because I added it, didn't set it up. It remained. This way it will be correct. Here I am. Also making mistakes, you see, it's normal. You will have them. 10 years, 100 years of experience, you will always make mistakes. And here's the sandbox. I will share this with you and you will be able to open the same thing. It's like in the code inside the browser. That is, you will see, but download your code and do everything step by step as I did. Guys, and I want to show you one thing, how to use the sandbox. It will be very useful for you so that you don't waste time figuring out how to use it in general, in the menu. In the description, I will share with you a link to the first lesson on the first sandbox. Each lesson will have a separate sandbox for each lesson. And when will you open this link? Let's say let's open Chrome. I will open Chrome in incognito mode as if you are opening a link. Yes, you are not logged in. You should have a sandbox open with this code, except all, but you won't be able to properly edit. Save there and everything else you see. For this you need to log in. Logging in is very easy. You can log in using Apple, Google, GitHub. Well, I log in using Google. For me it's more convenient. I logged in using Google. Now you can reload this preview page here or reload the entire site if it doesn't want to. There's such a glitch. Look, the first thing I recommend doing is changing the theme. Go here, editor, color theme, and select Visual Studio Dark. Everything was consistent because this theme matches Visual Studio, where you will be writing code, and now you are logged in and you can see if you change any code there. Let's say Nicotine added a 1 to the text. Look at what happens now. This lesson is copied for you personally. If you go to your dashboard, since here is lesson forked, don't pay attention to this. These are my old forked lessons. In general, it will now be in the dashboard. This lesson will always be there and you will be able to work with this lesson. But again, I advise using this sandbox for educational purposes, purely to play around, but write all the code in S code. And further, as we go through the subsequent lessons, we will naturally add code, and this is exactly how your project will grow in S code. The sandbox is needed to separate these lessons into first, second, third, so that they are decomposed. By the way, you can open it as a website if you want. See, it works via this link. Later, when there are the second, third, and fourth lessons, these sandboxes, like mine as I create them, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you, if you want, will be able to fork them. To fork means to branch off, that is, to make a copy in my branch. That's how to use the SANDBOX. This was DC Pro Max with you. See you in the next lesson. Write comments and I will also attach a link to my Telegram channel, which is related to everything about coding. There I will be posting videos and you will be able to ask any questions in the comments. I will answer them with voice messages, however you like. That means I will be there with you in real time always. Thank you, bye.